False consciousness is a term used by sociologists and expounded by some Marxists for the way in which material, ideological, and institutional processes in capitalist society mislead members of the proletariat and other class actors. These processes are thought to hide the true relations between classes and the real state of affairs regarding the exploitation suffered by the proletariat. Engels. Although Karl Marx frequently denounced ideology in general, there is no evidence that he ever actually used the phrase false consciousness. It appears to have been used, at least in print, only by Friedrich Engels. Engels wrote, "Ideology is a process accomplished by the so-called thinker, consciously, it is true, but with a false consciousness. The real motive forces impelling him remain unknown to him, otherwise it simply would not be an ideological process. Hence he imagines false or apparent motives. It is above all this appearance of an independent history of state constitutions, of systems of law, of ideological conceptions in every separate domain, which dazzles most people. If Luther and Calvin overcome the official Catholic religion, or Hegel overcomes Fichte and Kant, or if the constitutional Montesquieu is indirectly overcome by Rousseau with his social contract, each of these events remains within the sphere of theology, philosophy or political science, represents a stage in the history of these particular spheres of thought and never passes outside the sphere of thought. And since the bourgeois illusion of the eternity and the finality of capitalist production has been added as well, even the victory of the physiocrats and Adam Smith over the mercantilists is accounted as a sheer victory of thought, not as the reflection in thought of changed economic facts, but as the finally achieved correct understanding of actual conditions subsisting always and everywhere here. Engels expresses semantic baggage associated with the term ideology, i.e., that it implies a lack of objectivity which the term had at the time of its introduction from German. This has somewhat substantially been lost over the nearly 2 centuries since then, as ideology has come to be equated with worldview or philosophy. False consciousness is theoretically linked with the concepts of the dominant ideology and cultural hegemony, and to a lesser extent with cognitive dissonance. The idea of false consciousness has also been used by Marxist feminists and radical feminists with regard to women's studies. Later development. Some Marxist academics have argued that members of the proletariat disregard the true nature of class relations because of the belief in the probability or possibility of upward mobility. Such a belief is something like it is said to be required in economics with its presumption of rational agency. Otherwise wage laborers would be the conscious supporters of social relations antithetical to their own interests, violating that presumption.